Looking for help for a Dynasty Football League, a normal NFL Fantasy Football League, or just a normal football fan and excited for the NFL Draft? Well, here we go. We're starting our NFL scouting reports today. Let's get this thing going. A lot of information in this video. We're going to have little tiny chapters and sections that you guys can click around in the comment sections if you guys don't want to watch the entire video. But if you're interested in Dynasty Football or just a normal football league, or again, just a simple football fan and excited because you think your team's going to draft some of these players, be sure to stay tuned. The series starts today. We got a lot to discuss. And again, you're going to want to watch the entire video for the best analysis possible. But if not, and you want to skip around for certain players that you may be interested in drafting in, be sure to check the comment section and click to the guy that you want to see. Let's hop right into this thing.
180. 180, set.
Hello and welcome. This is Nick from Top Notch Sports, and today we're going over the 2023 quarterback scouting report. We're going to go over every single quarterback in this draft class that, really is being talked about. There's a few other guys that I didn't get to scout yet because, again, I'm all the way at the defensive tackles, but I do want to get the quarterback video out because I really don't feel like I'm changing much. Even after the combine and pro days, I feel like I'm not moving much on these guys. But again, if I do change, you guys will see a video coming out way closer to the draft of my final quarterback ranking and see my fluctuations. But this is a video where I really break down what I saw on film. Only their film. Their highlights, their game film, every game I watched, what I saw. And again, I asked some of you to give me your questions, and I'll answer those questions at the end of this video. But last but not least, again, I want to point out a few things. I have a long history at the quarterback position. Some good things, some bad things. Honestly, my scouting from a few years ago, a lot better than the recent years because I got a lot more picky with what I want. And honestly, it's been kind of handcuffing me. So this year, I feel like I'm going to be a lot more traditional to what I usually go with. And I'm not going to be looking for, oh, that guy that has that crazy, crazy arm or because sometimes you kind of get caught trying to find the next big thing and then you really reach on somebody and you look really bad. So this year I'm going to be a lot more, conservative with my approach, but I feel like, again, my scouting here is going to be pretty dang spot on. And I'm not tuning my own horn. I really do feel like this is how it's going to be. I watch a ton of film. Okay. I watch a ton of film. I do this every single season, okay? I watch quarterbacks like crazy. My quarterback track record is pretty dang good overall. I did miss on a few, okay? I'll admit that. I played football. I currently coach football, okay? I don't know what's going on with the camera right now. I'm trying to fix it. Sometimes it does that. Last but not least, this draft is a very interesting draft class, okay? And again, I'm going to be going over everybody. So again, any questions that you guys have, be sure to comment in the comment section below because it's very interesting. And again, there's a lot of hype around some guys, not a lot of hype around other guys. But again, if you want a fair, non-biased opinion that's not regulated by the media that try to, push certain guys and stuff, listen to this scouting report. I'm going to give you an unbiased scouting report from myself. Whether or not you want to believe me, that's up to you. But I'm going to tell you what I saw. And again, if you're interested in watching other stuff of ours, be sure to check it out. We cover all 32 NFL teams. And not only that, we got a NFL mock draft with 32 GM content creators going to be coming out on April 15th at 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern. And then we're going to be doing our live draft show on April 27th, which is the first day of the draft, the first round. I believe it starts around 7 or 8, probably 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern. All right, enough said. Let's hop into this slideshow. All right, if you're new to this series, welcome. If you're not new to this series, welcome back. We got a long way to go. And again, if you want to just check out certain guys for your Dynasty League, or if you're just a football fan and your team already drafted somebody, maybe you're coming back to this video because the draft just happened, go ahead, check out the chapters or go down to the comment section and check out the timestamp. So here we go. My 2023 quarterback prospects. Here's my track record. You're going to see some greatness. You're going to see some horrific misses. It's the way it is. That's the name of the game, okay? If you look at Bucky Brooks, it's been pretty horrible all the way around. You go back to some of these early guys, never hit on any of them. At least I'm willing to show you my faults. I'm willing to show you, my hits. Let's start in 2018. 2018, my number one guy was Josh Allen. I got to say, I probably succeeded there. I went Lamar Jackson 2, Sam Darnold 3, Baker Mayfield 4, and I knew Josh Rosen was going to be a bust, and he ultimately was. Nobody had Josh Allen at 1. If they're saying they did, they're lying to you. Every single TV analyst lied. They had Darnold and Mayfield. And I did miss. I had Darnold ranked over Mayfield. I think Mayfield probably ended up being a better quarterback than Sam Darnold. So I missed there. But I'll be honest with you, hitting on Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson at 1 and 2 was an absolute phenomenal hit. 2019, okay, remember, a lot of people had Dwayne Haskins at number 1 over Kyler Murray. I know Bucky Brooks did. I did not, okay? I listed Kyler Murray at 1, Daniel Jones at 2, Drew Lock at 3, and Dwayne Haskins at 4. When I look at this, I think I hit on Murray. I think I hit on Jones. Whether or not you wanted to put Dwayne Haskins over Drew Lock or have Drew Lock over Dwayne Haskins, that's up to you guys. But again, I honestly feel like my 2018 and 2019 draft classes for the quarterback position are pretty dang spot on, if I'm being quite honest with you. 2020, Justin Herbert 1, Joe Burrow 2, Jordan Love 3, Tua 4, Jacob Eason 5, Jalen Hurts 6, Jake Fromm 7. Some hits, some misses, okay? Justin Herbert being 1, I'm going to still say that I feel like he's the most talented quarterback out of that draft class. I know you can argue Joe Burrow too, and I think some people can definitely start arguing Jalen Hurts deserves to be up there too. But Joe Burrow, I feel like, is not as talented as Justin Herbert. Again, you can argue with me with that. Herbert has mobility. He has more zip. He has a bigger arm. I'm not saying Joe Burrow doesn't have some of that dog in him. I know we all know that he does have that, and he's willing to fight and he's willing to win. I think Herbert is too, to be quite honest with you. But again, I know Joe Cool's the man on the street right now. Everyone wants to talk about him. Love the guy. Absolutely love him. But again, I still got to go with Herbert in my own opinion. Jordan Love, I had at 3. You can say I missed, but again, we'll finally see him start. Again, this is based on if I had to put guys in my system, if I'm coaching him, who I want. I feel like Jordan Love has a lot of upside. We'll see what he can do this year. And again, it's not fair to judge this until you look 10 years down the line and see how they ultimately do. And again, one other thing before we go any further, this is before they get drafted too, right? Situation really does matter. Tua at 4, was not a huge fan of Tua. I like Jacob Eason, but I knew he was a party animal, and I just didn't think he was going to be a good leader. Jalen Hurts. I go back, watch my, me and Mike talk about Jalen Hurts. Big fan of this kid's leadership skills. I thought he could move. I thought he could throw. He was a little bit more of a throw-first quarterback that was able to move, but didn't have that huge arm. But again, really good guy all around it. You see what he's able to do. Definitely missed on him a little bit, and hopefully I don't keep on missing on those guys. 2021, this was absolutely disgusting. I'll be honest with you. I had Zach Wilson over Trevor Lawrence. I wasn't the only one that did this. You go back, you look at Chris Sims. He also had Zach Wilson over Trevor Lawrence. I fell into the booby trap. I'm going to be honest with you. Zach Wilson had a phenomenal release, really quick release. Good off-platform guy, went through progressions really well, and they said that he was a film junkie in the, film room, and I went with him, and, his film looked good too, and I don't know what happened. I think circumstance, confidence, all that combined really hurt Zach Wilson. I hope he still honestly gets a true shot. I don't know if he will. Trevor Lawrence, clearly the number 1 quarterback out of this draft class. I'm still love Matt Jones. I feel like Matt Jones definitely should be the next guy out of those 3. I mean, Wilson, definitely down my board for sure now, but Matt Jones, I feel like still just trails Trevor Lawrence. Not fair to judge him off this past season strictly because, the whole New England situation with Matt Patricia being the offensive coordinator really didn't help them. Huge fan of Kellen Mond coming out of the draft class. I'm going to be honest with you. Again, I can only judge guys off their film. If they don't get a fair opportunity, you really can't shoot me down there. I think if Mond had an opportunity, he could have shined. And you can say the same thing for Malik Willis over here. I was not a fan of Malik Willis. Some people had him ranked as number 1. I don't feel like it's fair to knock on those people because he wasn't given a fair opportunity yet. And if he never gets that opportunity, I don't know if it's fair to really judge those, experts and analysts. Next guy, Trey Lance and Justin Fields. I think Trey Lance's upside is phenomenal, but I'm not a huge fan of Trey Lance or Justin Fields. Trey Lance is a guy, in my opinion, that has phenomenal arm talent, but just did not have the experience and the, just a resume coming out of college to be a first-round quarterback selection. He got taken really early, got, traded up for. I think they spent 2 first-round picks on Trey Lance, maybe even 3. I honestly don't even remember off the top of my head to move up, 1 or 2 spots. It was like some kind of crazy thing. I don't think it was a smart move. I think the Niners definitely overreached for Trey Lance. Last but not least, Justin Fields. Justin Fields, again, really proven a lot of people wrong, even myself. He did show some signs of improvement that I did not think that we would see. But again, really, I mean, if you look at his numbers, I don't think this guy ever threw for over 3,000 yards. Everyone knew he could run. I want to see him take the next step throwing. There's not a lot around him. Hopefully the Bears will build around him, or he'll go elsewhere and they'll build around him. The long story short, I'm all right with my 2021 rankings besides the Zach Wilson thing. And of course, Kellen Mond never got an opportunity. But again, I feel like you can throw some of these guys away, truly. Last but not least, 2022. I had Matt Corral 1, Kenny Pickett 2, Malik Willis 3, Sam Howell 4, Desmond Ridder 5, and Carson Strong 6. Let me start with the back of the pack. Carson Strong 6, I'm pretty all right with that still. He's definitely not better than anybody else above him. Desmond Ridder 5, looked all right with Atlanta. But again, I don't think that he's better than anybody above him, to be honest with you. Sam Howell 4, Commanders guy. Going to be given an opportunity this year. I still think he'll be better than Desmond Ridder. I really, really do. Again, we'll have to wait and see. But I feel like even with the situation that they got drafted to, I feel like we'll see Sam Howell be better than Desmond Ridder. 3, Malik Willis. Malik Willis has a ton of upside. Again, did not have a lot of, I just didn't see a lot of that, pro-style offense when he played college. A lot of rolling out, taking dumb sacks, holding onto the ball too long, not going through his progressions. All those issues, I think, are going to catch up to him in the NFL, but he hasn't been given an opportunity. And I hope he does do good because I got him in Dynasty. I really am supporting this guy. So we'll see what Malik Willis can do. And again, it's not fair to judge him because he hasn't been given an opportunity. Some guys only need an opportunity. Look at Geno Smith this year. Given an opportunity on a team, and he did all right. Kenny Pickett at 2. I love Kenny Pickett. He was my number 1 ranked guy for a long period of time. But then I eventually put Matt Corral, who I've listed at 1 over him, because Matt Corral's arm and his release, I feel like, are like top 5 in the NFL. I mean, Matt Corral has a cannon of an arm, and his release is probably top 3 for the quickest releases in the NFL. But Kenny Pickett, again, love the kid so much. I really think he's going to do good. And if Matt Corral is given an opportunity with Carolina, I don't know if he ever will, but I do like his chances of being a pretty good quarterback. All right, there's my track record. Judge it how you may. Maybe you clicked off the video already. I'm sorry if you did. Let's go into the next spot. Here is my grading scale. This is how I grade these guys. I grade their in-game throwing, just all around, what it looks like on film. Their throw power, meaning their zip on the football, their arm strength, how far they throw on film, their pocket awareness, their pocket mobility, their accuracy, their touch, their throwing on the run, their anticipation, their decision-making, their tight window, their mental and adjustments, and last but not least, their mobility. And this is only at the film study and not after the pro days or their combine. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's hop into the first guy on this list. Now, again, this is in no particular order. At the very end of the video, I'll go over my rankings by my grade scale and then my personal analysis. And then also I'll compare them to last year's draft class. Let's hop right into this. First guy, quarterback CJ Stroud. He earned a 75 as his grade. That means he earned 75% of the possible points. That's pretty dang good on my grade scale. Let's see what I got on my notes. His unofficial measurements are 6'3", 218. And my pro comparison for him, and this is not a knock for him at all, is Jameis Winston. And the reason being is this. He's a throw-first guy with a big arm. That's all. I don't want you thinking a bust. Okay? Throw-first guy with a big arm. Here are my notes. This kid has all the ability you need to be a great passer in the NFL. He has great zip, throws with great touch, and has enough mobility to escape tough situations. First, he has enough zip to squeeze the ball into very tight windows. He has some of the best zip I've ever seen in a while. He's a throw-first quarterback who will throw with anticipation. Although he does throw with anticipation at times, sometimes it does seem that he is a little late on his throws. He has the ability to run when he wants to, but is really good within the pocket. I want to keep on stressing that. Very good when he's in the pocket. But he's also pretty dang good at play action boot passes too. That's another thing I want to mention. He does a good job subtly moving around in the pocket to buy himself time to make a play. When he is forced outside the pocket, he is always keeping his eyes down the field. His zip seems just as good on the run as it is when he's in the pocket. Another great trait is his ability to throw his receivers open and throw them away from defenders. This is something that not many quarterbacks can do, especially at the college level. Stroud's biggest knock would be how he misses some receivers. Now you may be asking, how does he miss receivers? Well, it's not his accuracy that's missing the receivers, but sometimes he just does not see them. I'm not sure if it is him just sticking on certain reads too long or he just misses some guys. Fortunately, he has the arm strength to make up for it, though. He is also not elusive enough to juke somebody out or run somebody over, but he is going to, try to play inside the pocket the way the play is supposed to be played, and he's going to try to beat you with his arm. This kid has all you need in a franchise quarterback and is one of the best throwing quarterbacks in this draft class. He has a good enough mobility to get around and extends plays with his good arm. He should be good enough to win on any team, but just needs to clean up being late on targets and missing some receivers. All right, those are my notes on CJ Stroud. So what are some of his strengths? Well, again, he has phenomenal zip, in my opinion. One of the best zips I've seen in the last few draft classes, to be quite honest with you. Throws with great touch, okay? Plays really good inside the pocket and has great pocket mobility. What does pocket mobility mean? He can move around in the pocket, okay? He's able to, sense pressure and move around, step up, move left, move right, and keep his eyes down the field, which I absolutely love. Great accuracy. He's able to throw on the run, and as I said, he doesn't lose zip when he throws on the run, throws with the anticipation, and again, good at, able to squeeze balls in a tight window. What are his weaknesses? Not the most mobile guy. What do I mean by this? People want to say, oh, he's not mobile at all. No, he's mobile, right? He's not going to juke somebody out or run somebody over, but he's able to move around in the pocket or, pick up some yards on his feet. People want to really stress some things, and try to be crazy with all these like little tiny details. At the end of the day, is he as mobile as Lamar Jackson or Kyler Murray? No. But can he run? Absolutely. And that's all you need him to do. That's where he reminds me of Jameis Winston. He's a throw-first guy with a big arm that's willing to run but does not need to rely on his running ability. I absolutely love CJ Stroud, and I'll rank him at the very end of this video. But now let's look at the next thing. Here is his in-depth breakdown. Here's an 81% for me for his throwing grade. Here's a 67% for my mobility grade, and a 69% for his awareness grade. Now, what does this mean? Well, again, this is out of the percent possible of all the points he can score. So if he got A pluses all the way across the board, it would be 100%, 100%, 100%. But he earned 81% of the points in the throwing categories, 67% of the points in the mobility categories, and last but not least, 69% in the awareness category. So again, for future guys, now you know what these mean. All right, now let's go and look at the further breakdown. Here is his breakdown. You guys are more than welcome to hit pause and look at this. A few things I want to point out, though. His in-game throwing, I was really high on. His throw power, again, that means his zip, I was really high on. High on his pocket mobility, his accuracy, his touch, his throwing on the run, anticipation, and tight window. The only thing I was not a huge fan of was his mobility. And again, that's why I listed that as a weakness. All right, now let's go to the next guy. Anthony Richardson earned a 74 as his grade. All right. Not bad at all. Let's see what I say about Anthony Richardson in his notes. First thing, 6'4", 232 unofficially, and his quarterback comparison for me, and I hate using young guys, but it was Justin Fields. Reminded me of Justin Fields. It really did. Here are my notes. This kid is a prospect loaded with talent, but needs to tie it all together. Reminds me of a Justin Fields a lot. First, he's a pass-first quarterback who enjoys to play within the pocket. He has a phenomenal pocket mobility and is able to maneuver better than I have seen better than almost anybody I have seen within the pocket. When he does move around, he climbs the pocket and he can deliver a strike down the field to his receivers. Now, one thing we cannot do is get pocket mobility confused with pocket awareness. Richardson does a good job stepping up and extending plays within the pocket, and he does a great job getting outside the pocket, but he does not sense pressure like some of the elite pocket awareness quarterbacks do. Pocket mobility versus pocket awareness. Big difference. Big difference. He has the arm anybody would want. He has great arm strength and good zip on his passes. He may have the best arm in the draft. He throws with good touch, but sometimes the ball hangs in the air too long or it is slightly underthrown. He is one of these quarterbacks that are inconsistent on his touch passes and likes to put these on the line rather than loft them. There's two different kinds of touch passes. There's a long, lofty touch passes, and there's the ones that are on a rope. He likes to throw it a little bit more on the rope, okay? Right quick to the guy, doesn't put any loft under it. He is willing to wait for the play to develop and take a shot, meaning that he's willing to take a hit, okay? He is not afraid to get hit in order to get a receiver open. While he likes to play within the pocket, when he is on the run, he does not lose any zip on his passes. Again, that's a huge trait to have. He is also pretty good at throwing while on the run, but again, he'd rather throw on design rollouts or when needed. Because of his mobility and pocket mobility, he is very tough to sack. Again, this is a guy that has a ton of zip, that can throw the ball on the run, likes to play within the pocket, which I love to see. But again, another thing is he's tough to take down, man. Great mobility, very tough to sack because of his ability to move around within the pocket and get outside the pocket. His mobility is very good. He can juke, truck, and he can, and he has great balance, honestly, as a runner. This is an awesome asset to have as a throw-first quarterback, which I truly believe he is. He can run read options and RPOs and is very good at executing both of these. Not only is he good at those, but he's also good on play action passes. The biggest flaw in his game is his accuracy. Sometimes he misses badly, and other times when he gets it there, it's just not easily catchable for the receiver because it's not placed perfectly where it needs to be, okay? So again, even when he gets it there, sometimes it's a little bit offline, which makes it tougher on his receivers. He also does not throw many passes with anticipation unless it's a comeback route or a curl route. I rarely see him rip an out route or a corner route. Again, a lot of these college quarterbacks struggle with throwing balls outside the numbers. Didn't see a lot of it on Anthony Richardson's film. Another flaw is short yardage runs. He tends to get stuffed, which is shocking with his size, strength, and speed. He got stuffed multiple times on quarterback sneaks and quarterback power runs. Again, this was just honestly shocking to me considering he's a big guy that can move. And last but not least, this kid has a ton of tools to work with, and with the right coach and the right team, he could be special. Because of his throw-first nature, his talented arm, and his ability to run, he can be special. He is very quick in open spaces, which makes him an even better runner. So we will see what he can do at the next level. That's Anthony Richardson, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, big guy, loaded with talent. What are some of his strengths? Pass first quarterback, in my opinion. Okay, a lot of people are going to say otherwise. I think he's a pass first guy. Phenomenal pocket mobility, great moves inside the pocket. He climbs a pocket, good arm strength, great zip from point A to point B in a flash. Willing to take a hit to get a pass off, throws on the run well, tough to sack, and great mobility. His weaknesses: accuracy is inconsistent from time to time. He doesn't throw a lot with anticipation. And honestly, the weird part, again, I'm going to keep questioning this, he got stuffed a lot on quarterback designed runs, which is just weird to me. Again, still just interesting. I'm going to be honest with you. All right, so now let's see what we got in his in-depth breakdown. Here is his in-depth breakdown. Earned a 74% with his throwing grade, 92% with his mobility grade, and a 65% with his awareness grade. And last but not least, here is his breakdown. You're more than welcome to pause, look at this again. I'm not going to sit here and read you every single little tiny small detail about this guy, but you're more than welcome to. Next guy, quarterback Bryce Young. Earned a 72 as his quarterback grade. Here are my notes. 6 foot, 194 unofficially. I honestly think he might measure in less. My pro comparison to his film, Deshaun Watson. This kid reminds me of the Deshaun Watson type quarterback. He has a pretty good arm and has the ability to extend plays. He is pretty good at stepping up in the pocket, but then he tends to drift outside the pocket when he can. He does a good job extending plays when he can, which allows him and the offense to get something open. He uses his legs to extend plays a lot. When there is pressure, he does a good job escaping sacks, which shows that he's a playmaker at the quarterback position. He also looks like he goes through all his reads when he has the time to do so. His touch on his passes is there sometimes and not on others. He tends to throw his touch passes on the line rather than putting some air under. Again, this is what I said before too. Rather than a lofty touch, he likes to throw it a little bit more on the line. When he misses, it is typically slightly underthrown. He tends to hold the ball very long and does not make extremely quick decisions. He also is not the most rhythmatic quarterback, which means two things. He does not always run the play the way it should be, and sometimes he does not keep the offense running smoothly the entire way down the field. There's a lot of 3-and-outs with the Alabama, when I watch this film. There, missed throw here, holds on, takes a stupid sack. Now it's third and really long, maybe gets 8-9 yards. Now they got a punt. Okay, I just didn't like that a lot. Overall, he has the escapability to be a playmaker at the next level. He has a good arm to be able to throw the ball short and intermediate pretty consistently. He can throw well on the run and does some of his best work when he is flipping his hips when he throws. He can throw from different arm angles, but do not compare his throwing style to Mahomes. It's not even close. The largest issue I see is that he has a problem staying in rhythm on offense. He also holds on to the ball very long, which may not be able to happen. In the NFL, you can't hold on to the ball if you hold on to the ball more than 4.5 seconds in the NFL, you're probably going to get clobbered. He has the mobility to make a few runs a game, but he is not a guy that is going to juke out a defender or run somebody over. He's going to have to rely on his arm, but use his legs to extend plays and pick up some easy yards. If he uses his mobility wisely and decides to climb the pocket and deliver some passes rather than taking off a lot, he can be an above-average quarterback in the NFL and a guy a team can build their franchise around. Again, I want to highlight that he is consistently extending plays with his legs to pass the ball, which will really help, especially a weaker team with a weak O-line. I do not see him ever being a top 3 to 5 quarterback in his career in the NFL, but he will be manageable for a team that drafts him. He has the tools, just needs some fine-tuning. One thing about Bryce Young, in my opinion, is it definitely his frame. I don't know if this dude's even 6 foot 194. That's what they say now. We'll see if he officially gets his true measurables in. So what are his strengths? Again, he reminds me of Deshaun Watson, the fact that he has that ability to extend plays. He steps up in the pocket and can deliver a strike. He's good at escaping sacks, and he's a playmaker because he can do all these things. He does go through reads a lot. He has good throw power. Again, his zip's not bad. Good pocket awareness, good mobility, throws with good touch. But again, I said sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. But overall, for a college player, I would list it as one of his strengths. Good throwing on the run ability, and he's a pretty dang good decision maker too. His weakness is, it doesn't really squeeze a lot of balls in a tight window, which again, that's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing because he's not really testing a lot. It's a bad thing because I want to be able to see if he can get it inside that tight window. He tends to drift outside the pocket. He doesn't always play within the rhythm on the offense, and, he kind of struggles a little bit when he's off script, in my opinion. It's just, I just don't see him getting the ball out quick. It's usually, oh, shoot, a guy's here, I'm holding on to the ball, let me roll out, and, oh, here's a guy 13 yards down the field, let me sling it to him, and he gets a completion. I want to see someone, because in the NFL, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, step back, step, fire. 1, 2, 3, step, fire. 1, 2, 3, step, fire. I didn't see him do that. I didn't see him, decipher a defense and just, pick them apart like a Matt Jones could. I saw him be much more of a playmaker. He holds the ball too long, like I said again, and last but not least, his small size and frame is definitely a weakness of his. Here's his in-depth breakdown. Here in the 73% throwing grade, 75% mobility grade, and a 71% in the awareness category. And here's his breakdown. You're more than welcome to look at this. And now let's go to the next guy. Hendon Hooker earned a 71% as his grade. 6'4", 218 is his unofficial measurements. And my comparison, and again, I don't ever compare anybody to this guy because this was my gem that I scouted, and everyone wants to pair Trey Lance to him, and everyone wants to compare, everybody wants to compare everybody to this guy. I've been hearing now Anthony Richardson, but I compare Hendon Hooker to this guy only for this reason. He reminds me of a Josh Allen on the goal line. Okay, shovel passes, quarterback powers, quarterback counters, QB sneaks, shovel pass, just everything. He does everything. Very creative on the goal line. I saw them use him in all kinds of different ways in college. So that reminds me of Josh Allen. But no, I'm not saying he is Josh Allen, okay? Definitely not. Everyone wants to do this, that, and the other thing. But again, it's just ridiculous. Here are my notes on Hendon Hooker. This kid is going to be one of those prospects that most scouts cannot agree on. Coming off of an injury is going to lower his stock, but he has everything you need to be special. First, we must start with the type of quarterback he is. He is a stand-tall, big-armed gunslinger that has quickness that at times reminds me of a way larger build Kyler Murray. He has a big arm and is a throw-first quarterback. Hooker throws a nice tight spiral, and he is one of the few quarterbacks in this draft class that throws a nice, high, lofty lob pass with great touch. He may have the best arm in the draft. And again, I'm keep on saying because there's a lot of guys that really have good arms. So again, there's a huge battle for who actually has the best arm. When he throws the deep ball, he tends to just lay it out there, but he also puts air under it so that the receivers have time to adjust to it and get under it. The other quarterbacks in the draft class throw these touch passes with more line on it, a little bit more rope, a little bit more zest. But those kind of, touch passes, a lot of passes, don't allow receivers to adjust to the football like Hendon Hooker's does. His accuracy for most of his film is pretty good, but there are drives or even games where you can tell that Hooker is just not accurate. For most of his film, on occasion when he does miss, is typically thrown high. But I think with going into the NFL and being around some of the greatest coaches, in the entire world, he should be able to miss some of these accuracy inconsistency issues with just missing a little high. Hooker has the capability of throwing the ball with a lot of zip and also knows when to take a few miles per hour off the ball, which is a good trait to have. Trey Lance used to throw, a 2-yard comeback route, like a little tiny curl to a running back, 497 miles per hour, and it's a knuckleball, and it's so hard for the guy to catch. Just lay it in there if they're wide open. You don't got to throw it 99 miles per hour and break the guy's hands, because then the guy's going to drop it. He does a good job escaping some sacks and gaining yards on his feet. What he does decide to run is usually when he steps up through the pocket. He has very quick movements within the pocket, which makes him tricky to take down as he senses pressure well. And this is where I see him and Kyler Murray being the same. Kyler is very quick, one of the quickest guys I've ever seen within the pocket, and Hooker has the quickness also to make these escapable plays that I only see in Kyler Murray. Hooker is a good runner when he is in open spaces. He is a dangerous runner because he can run through some easy tackles or even juke some defenders out. Hendon Hooker can be very creative on the goal line, as you can use him on quarterback sneaks, shovel passes, options, boots, and much, much more. The main issue I have with Hooker is first the injury. Who knows what will happen with that, and if he'll ever get a fair opportunity. But if he does have an opportunity, this is where he could be potent. There's another few issues, though, too, I want to mention. First, he's a mainly pocket passer and tries to throw purely from the pocket. So when he is flushed out, I think it makes him a little bit uncomfortable at times. When he gets flushed out, he usually takes off and runs rather than keeping his eyes down the field like some of the other quarterbacks in this draft class do. And like I said, when you lack the ability to keep your eyes on the field, you're going to miss wide open receivers down the field. There was just a lack of film watching him throw on the run. Whether or not he did it or not, or I just didn't see the film where he did, that's to be debated. But again, there's just not a lot of him throwing on the run. The other issue I see, but this is with most college quarterbacks, is that he barely throws outside the numbers. And I said this before. He throws in routes, slants, etc., etc. And this is the same issue I saw on Justin Fields' tape, which concerned me then, and it still concerns me now. I want to see Hooker rip a ball outside the numbers. He throws mostly in-breaking routes, and at times when he does throw these in-breaking routes, he misses what I said before, slightly high. Overall, Hooker has the ability to be special in this league. I am shocked to see him much lower than other developmental quarterbacks in the draft class, such as someone like Anthony Richardson or even a Will Levis. I love throw-first quarterbacks that have the ability to run, but Hooker must clean up some of his inconsistencies throwing the ball. Hooker can be very special depending on if he is given a chance and whether or not the team uses him properly. All right, those are my notes. I absolutely love Hendon Hooker. I'm going to be honest with you. And, my personal analysis at the end of this video, it very well may change. Hendon Hooker might fly up my draft board. I'm going to be honest with you. It's going to come down to whether or not they give this guy a chance. If I'm in the draft and I get a chance to take this guy in round 2, whether or not I give him a year to rest his injury and just learn, or I start him day 1, this is a guy I want to bet on, okay? I'm betting on a guy like this. Why? Let's look at his strengths. A throw-first quarterback who has a tight spiral, one of those lofty touch passes. Again, there's 2 theories on the touch pass. Should it have a little bit more, should it be a little bit more on the line, or should it be a little bit more loft? A great deep ball, again, allows the receivers to adjust to it. Great escapability with his quickness. Reminds me a little bit of Kyler Murray. A dangerous runner, can juke, can run people over. Good pocket mobility, throws with good touch, and just an all-around mobile quarterback. Weaknesses. Recent injury is going to be the biggest thing, okay? Whether or not he can heal from that, that's something that's going to definitely lower his stock. Inconsistencies is another thing, not always being perfectly accurate, et cetera, et cetera. Again, a lot of quarterbacks have these issues coming out of college. Not comfortable on the move is something that I'm definitely a little bit hesitant on, and he does not keep his eyes down the field. Again, lacking the passes outside the numbers. This is something, again, I saw on Fields' film, and a lot of guys lack this in college. So, again, something that, you see a lot of similarities between people. His throwing on the run, okay? And last but not least, his mental adjustments. Okay, sometimes takes too many sacks, and not being able to, with his sacking thing is this. I want to see someone go up to the line of scrimmage and possibly audible something or slide protection or, not get sacked 37 times a game. Hendon Hooker had this thing where it just seemed like sometimes he would not make those proper adjustments, whether it was throwing the ball into certain coverages or, even not getting sacked over and over again. So those are my concerns about Hendon Hooker. But again, the upside is definitely there. Here's his in-depth breakdown: 71% throwing grade, 79% mobility grade, and a 65% awareness grade. And here is his breakdown. You're more than welcome to take a look at this and let me know what you think. All right, here is the next guy. Will Levis. All right, what are his measurables? Unofficial, 6'3", 232, earned a 63 quarterback grade. It reminds me of Carson Wentz in the sense that he loves to play hero ball. Okay, here are my notes on Will Levis. This kid is an interesting prospect. I'm having an interesting feeling about this guy. I hate making young comparisons, but I must say he reminds me of two guys I scouted lately. And again, I hate doing this. A mixture between a Trey Lance and a Zach Wilson for good and bad reasons. The more pro comparison would be a Carson Wentz. He has the tools, but the question will be if he can use them properly. First, he has an amazing quick release and may have the best arm strength in this draft class. Again, now this is arm strength, how far he can throw it. He may be able to heave the ball around 60. I think I saw around 65-ish yards on film, okay? He can throw off awkward platforms and loves to throw the deep ball, even if it is in tight coverage. He has nice zip as well as on some of his passes, which shows me that he can put heat on it when he wants to, and it also shows me he knows when not to. Although sometimes he keeps the heat on some easy 3-yard passes and makes it unnecessarily tough on his receivers for no reason. This is a Trey Lance comparison I'm saying. You see, he has the ability to turn on and off is what I'm trying to say. Okay, he can throw at 145 miles per hour and he can lay off. But I still see too many times where there's a 3-yard curl route to your running back, and rather than making it easy on him because he's wide open, you try to show off your arm strength and throw at 457 miles per hour. Just stupid. Okay, just stupid. And I can't stand stuff like this. I couldn't stand it with Lance's film. And, and Lance never made it easy, too, because Lance would throw knuckleballs. Just calm down, lay it in there, okay? He is also willing to put his body on the line to pick up a first down. I saw this guy lay out for a first down, and I saw him even try to hurdle a defender, but he kind of got blown up instead, okay? But I love to see the effort because it shows me his passion. Yet I would not like to see my franchise quarterback taking these hits. Again, this is a pro and a con, okay? If the pocket opens up, he will step up and take off, gaining a few extra yards with his legs. If he can piece together his arm strength, his willingness to win, and his ability to throw off platform with an extremely fast release that he has, he could be something special in this league. The unfortunate news is this may be tough for him. This is the first prospect I've seen in a while, probably since Dwayne Haskins, that I just do not see him being as good as other people are expecting him to be. I must admit, I was high on Zach Wilson. I was lower than most on Trey Lance. But this one, I just do not see panning out with Will Levis. I'm not sure if it was his O-line play in Kentucky that is throwing me off, but I think it was honestly, truly just him. First, I think he holds the ball way too long and takes unnecessary sacks and hits. He's very late on some of his throws and occasionally stares down his receivers instead of just letting it rip. He lacks pocket awareness, which once again makes him get sacked at an alarmingly high rate. You can blame it on his line. A lot of it has to do with him. He is not the most accurate quarterback either, as he throws high on some of his easy passes. Rather than taking the easy crosser that's wide open and easily laying it out to his receivers, he will make it really difficult by throwing a 145-mile-per-hour rocket that's very inaccurate, and that goes through his receiver's hands that is a little bit behind his receiver. And that's even if it hits his receiver's hands. Sometimes this guy throws it and it's completely offline. On other times, he rolls out of the pocket, making it tougher for his offensive line and offensive tackle specifically to block for him, okay, leading to even more sacks than necessary. Last but not least, he misses open receivers down the field. When he is trying to extend plays outside the pocket, which he is rarely able to do because of his lack of awareness, and this tends to be when the play call breaks down and he is forced to, move outside the pocket, which makes believe he is not a great off-schedule quarterback. So what do I mean by that? Last but not least, right, I said he misses open receivers downfield when he is trying to explain plays outside the pocket. What I'm trying to say is he very rarely extends plays outside the pocket because he lacks the awareness to do so on occasion. But I'm trying to say when he does go outside the pocket because the play call breaks down and he's forced outside, he doesn't do a good job because he's not an all-schedule guy. Hopefully that makes a little bit more sense than me just rambling on a minute ago. He is actually a rather above-average play-action quarterback, which then again, which I saw him mainly do during college, which gives me glimpses and makes me somewhat compare him to Mitch Trubisky. I mean, you're hearing me name him to a lot of guys. I'm seeing flashes of a lot of guys here. Overall, this kid has a lot of work on. Is there upside? Absolutely. But some players I have to crack down on, and this is one of them. I was very high on Josh Allen because of his upside. I was very high on Justin Herbert because of his upside. But Will Levis will not be one of my top-ranked quarterbacks or not my top-ranked quarterback. Allen was my top-ranked quarterback. Justin Herbert was my top-ranked quarterback because of their, upside. But Levis just is not going to make the cut here. He has tendencies that I just do not like, but that does not mean that he cannot be a manageable quarterback in the league. He sometimes tries to play superhero ball and makes plays like Carson Wentz, but I just do not see this kid panning out unless he pairs up with an amazing offensive coordinator that allows him to play only towards his strengths. With that being said, we shall see what happens. What are some strengths? Will Levis has the tools, ladies and gentlemen. He does have the tools. Good quick release, probably my favorite release out of the entire draft class. Good at off-platform throws, willing to put his body on the line, above average play action guy, good zip, good arm strike, can heave it down the field. Weaknesses, there's a long list. Throws too hard at times. Puts his body on the line. This could end up in an injury. It's a pro and a con. Holds the ball too long. He stares down some receivers. Lacks the pocket awareness, I would like to see, because he takes way too many sacks when he should get rid of the ball. Lacks pocket mobility. Doesn't really move well in the pocket. When he does move in the pocket, he usually steps up and runs rather than, maneuvering around in the pocket like a CJ Stroud and finding someone open. He lacks accuracy. He lacks the ability of throwing on the run. He lacks the ability to throw with the anticipation. His decision-making is pretty damn horrible. He doesn't throw that great in a tight window. I've seen him force balls in tight windows, but sometimes he tries to throw in a tight window and is really covered, and he just shouldn't do it. He lacks mental adjustments, and last but not least, his mobility is not up there with some of the best of them. Here's his in-depth breakdown. He earned a 68% throwing grade, 58% mobility grade, and a 58% awareness grade. And here's his breakdown. You're more than welcome to look at that. Take a pause and see what you think and compare to what I got. And last but not least, our final guy, Tanner McKee, a guy I scouted last year. 6'6" unofficially, 230. His comparison for me was Alex Smith because he reminds me of a smart game manager. Let's see what I got in his notes. This kid seems to play within the rhythm of an offense. He's a smart player and makes quick reads. First, we must talk about how smart he is as a player. You can clearly see him going through his progressions to find the open receiver when he does not make a pre-snap read. Okay, when he does not. When he does make a pre-snap read, it helps him get to the open receiver really quick, but also sometimes because of his smartness and, knowing where he's supposed to go to the ball, he gets stuck on a receiver and stares him down, which allows the defender to jump the pass. McKee gets the ball out quickly and accurately. Another thing about McKee is he throws with good zip, but does not have the elite arm strength you would want to see in a quarterback. Honestly, probably has some of the least arm strength I have seen out of any quarterback in the last, probably 3-4 draft classes. I mean, I would probably rank it up there with Jake Fromm. He needs to be a short to intermediate passer because I do not think he has the arm to rip 152+ yards in a game consistently. I don't think this guy's going to be throwing the ball much over 30 yards in a game. When he throws a touch pass, it lacks air as he likes to put it on the line. Again, another one of these guys. The only guy I really saw like throw it lofty was, Hendon Hooker. McKee is not afraid to stand tall in the pocket and take a shot, and he's willing to step up in the pocket and take off when he has to. Overall, McKee is a smart player, and he can make short to intermediate passes. He makes pre-snap reads and can get the ball out quickly. He is a guy that can be manageable, will never take over a game. He's not like a Patrick Mahomes that's going to take over a game, march you down the field and win. This is a guy that can very well march you down the field and win, but it's not going to be because of his sidearm slings, and he's just going to, use his eliteness to take over. He's going to be a very good, smart quarterback that can get you down the field and possibly give you a win. If he can work towards his strengths, his smarts, his quick reads, his accuracy, and play mistake-free, which he often does, there's a chance that he can win games at the next level, okay? So what are his strengths? Plays within the rhythm of an offense, makes quick reads, smart, goes through his progressions, pre-snap reads help him, stands tall in the pocket, throw power is good, meaning his zip, accuracy is good, and touch. Again, one thing I want to mention is pre-snap reads sometimes help him. They can also be in the con in the sense that, sometimes he stares down his receivers. Here we go, weaknesses. Gets stuck on receivers. Well, that leads, that's all caused because of his pre-snap reads sometimes, I feel like. Good, latch arm strength, not great in pocket mobility, moving around in the pocket. Doesn't throw great in tight windows. Again, I think that's because he just doesn't have a phenomenal arm. Again, good zip, but doesn't test really those tight windows, I should say. And again, not the most mobile guy. Definitely probably the least mobile guy that we talked about so far. Here's his in-depth breakdown. Got a 61% throwing grade, 54% mobility grade, and a 67% awareness grade. And last but not least, here's his breakdown. You're more than welcome to look at that. And one guy I do want to compare him to, it's kind of like a Davis Mills. Reminds me a little bit of Davis Mills, can win you games, can do that stuff. But again, I wouldn't really rely on this guy. All right, now what? Here we are. Here's my 2023 quarterback draft prospect categories, okay? I try to give them all a category if I could. One I consider the safest pick. I feel like C.J. Stroud is your safest pick. This is a guy that has a big frame, good arm, good accuracy, goes through reads, has mobility, can move around in the pocket, etc., etc. I just truly feel like he is your safest pick, and I would highly consider him with a very early draft pick in this year's draft class. The guy with the most potential. I also noted a few of my famous guys. Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen all got coined most potential. Anthony Richardson is also getting coined most potential. That doesn't mean that he's going to be my top guy. I'm just letting you know that most potential has led to some magic before. Anthony Richardson, if he can put it all together, his running ability, his throwing ability, his arm strength, his zip, all that combined, he has the most potential. An absolute sleeper, in my opinion, Hendon Hooker. Nobody's giving this guy the credit that he deserves. I feel like this guy can be a first-round quarterback if it wasn't for the injury. I think that this guy, honestly, in my opinion, can be argued as a top 3 to top 4 quarterback in this draft class, okay? For sure. I'm saying top 3. That means you can have this guy ranked at 1 just looking at his film if you were to be that crazy. I mean, again, and I shouldn't say if you were to be that crazy. It is crazy to say that, but I'm going to say this again. Hendon Hooker could very well be the number 1 guy in the sense of pure talent. I mean, he can run, he can throw, he has that lofty touch pass. I loved everything I saw with Hooker. Bryce Young, I feel like, is the most NFL ready. Coming out of Alabama, you learn to be NFL ready. And I think Bryce Young is the most NFL ready. He can go through reads, progressions. He just is the most NFL ready. There was a category I termed last year as athletic but needs work. Nobody is listed there. I feel like I also maybe said that with Jordan Love maybe, or maybe I think I might have did that with Jordan Love or Jalen Hurts a few years ago. Athletic but needs some work. Or maybe this could have even been Malik Willis last year. I'm honestly not too sure who the hell I coined this of. But again, there's nobody that I really feel like makes, it needs to be listed under there. And last but not, Will Levis has tools to work with. This guy has tools to work with. Whether or not he'll ever, show us those tools in a good way, we'll have to wait and see. Here's my 2023 quarterback rankings according to their grade scale. Again, this is an unbiased way to look at it. If you mark good, if you got good grades according to my grade scale, then you're going to be listed on this list exactly where you were listed. C.J. Stroud 1, Anthony Richardson 2, Bryce Young 3, Hendon Hooker 4, Tanner McKee 5, and Will Levis 6. This is an unbiased way to look at it without my personal analysis. Let's look at the next slide, which is going to show you my 2023 draft compared to my 2020 rankings via the grades used in the grade scale. All right. According to purely the grade scale and comparing these players to one another, okay? Grade scale to grade scale. I want to reiterate that. This is the ranking that it would be, okay? This is unbiased as well. They have it listed as, not they, I should say, my grade scale, which I consider just like a mind of its own. So it's its own person at this point, right? It has its own, rankings compared to my rankings. It has Pickett ranked at number 1. CJ Stroud ranked at number 2. Richardson 3. Matt Corral 4. Bryce Young 5. Hendon Hooker 6. Desmond Ridder 7. Malik Willis 8. Howell, McKee, then Levis. My grade scale is harsh on Will Levis. Will Levis did not do that great at all of my things. And maybe I'll see something different during his pro day or his combine that will make me raise him high. But as of right now, this is what I got. So let me know what you think. Again, this doesn't mean this is what I agree with. This is according to their grade they earned, according to my grade scale. Here's my 2023 quarterback rankings via my personal analysis. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. This is my personal rankings. Everyone wants to know this every year. Here's what I got so far this year, and we'll see if it changes. CJ Stroud 1. Anthony Richardson 2, Bryce Young 3, Will Levis 4, Hendon Hooker 5, and Tanner McKee 6. Now, here's my theory on this. CJ Stroud, in my opinion, is the best quarterback in this draft class. I feel safe with putting CJ Stroud at 1. He's accurate. He has some mobility. He's, good zip, good arm power. I really think this guy can be very good. Anthony Richardson, I feel comfortable at putting number 2 because he has great side and a ton of potential. And I feel like, again, this guy could absolutely end up being the best quarterback in this draft class if he can live up to his potential here. Another guy I feel like is just as, has a lot of potential is Hendon Hooker. I could place Hendon Hooker at 3 if I truly want to, and I may adjust him before we're done with all this, down the line towards the draft. But as of right now, I'm leaving Hendon Hooker at 5. Bryce Young at 3. I like Bryce Young. His frame really does concern me. Good arm. NFL ready. I just don't think he has the ability to be an elite quarterback I'm not saying he's not going to be elite. He can be, top 10. I don't ever see him be in that top 3 to top 5 elite range. Like the Herberts, the Burrows, the Mahomes, the Rodgers, the Tom Bradys. I just don't see Bryce Young being that guy. Will Levis at 4. I think I could very well put Hooker over Will Levis right now. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt here, putting him at 4. But again, we'll see what I think as we get closer to the draft. The guy does have talent. He did have a lack of talent in Kentucky. I can't blame it all on him. He has a good frame. And, there is no injury concerns with him. And I do know that he has the passion. I just don't know if he's smart enough. Hooker at 5. I absolutely love Hendon Hooker. Again, you definitely see this guy going higher. And last but not least, Tanner McKee. Tanner McKee could absolutely be manageable. It's hard to compare him and the guy like Levis. Like, McKee will never be that, all-star guy, in my opinion. But he could be a guy that wins games. Will Levis, I feel like, will have a crack at being the starter. McKee may never be given that opportunity. Although I may say McKee might win you more games than a guy like Levis. Levis may be able to do some phenomenal things. It's like, oh my God, look at that throw. But I think Will Levis can lose you more games than Tanner McKee can. And I feel like Will Levis can also win you more games than Tanner McKee can. So McKee is one of those guys that would be average. Will Levis can be that guy that can be above average or way below average. So again, high ceiling, really low floor for a guy like Levis. Here's my 2023 draft compared to my 2022 rankings via my personal analysis. This is comparing last year's draft class to this year's draft class. And you already see that my top 2 guys this year are ranked in my top 2 guys last year. And then you see a bunch of stuff after that. But before we even go over any of this, I want to say this. Matt Corral hasn't been given an opportunity. Again, I was higher on Pickett all the way through, but the last second I just put Matt Corral over him. So again, I know this looks bad, but I'm unwilling to act like all these other TV analysts and be like, I never make a flaw. I absolutely made a flaw. If Corral's not given an opportunity, though, I don't know if you can truly blame me. Again, same thing with like someone like Hendon Hooker. I don't know if he'll ever be given an opportunity, or a Malik Willis. So, these analysts, though, they want to hide their things. I'm not willing to hide it. I'm willing to show you where I made a mistake or where I, where a guy wasn't really given an opportunity. I don't feel like Matt Corral's been given a fair opportunity yet, and we'll see if he ever will be. But again, CJ Stroud 1, Anthony Richardson 2. If you want to ignore Matt Corral, you can. So I got those two listed over my guy in Kenny Pickett. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I do feel like they have a lot more upside than Kenny Pickett, and I feel like they ultimately, if I had to draft one of those three coming out of college, I'm taking Richardson and Stroud over Pickett, and Matt Corral for that matter. Then I got Bryce Young. I got Pickett and Corral coming out of college higher than I have Bryce Young, honestly. I like their upside more. Then I got Will Levis. Then Hendon Hooker. Again, I think Hendon Hooker is going to be on the move going up. I'm telling you, I think Hendon Hooker is going to be on the move going up. Desmond Ridder, then Malik Willis, then Sam Howell, then Tanner McKee. So that's that. Now what I'm going to do is talk to you all. I'm going to go back, put on my camera so you can see my ugly face again, and we'll talk a little bit about your questions that you had for me and wrap some things up. And again, if there's any questions you guys need to ask, comment in the comment section below. All right, I am back. I feel absolutely exhausted. First, let me take a sip of water because, woo, that was a lot to talk. Lovely. Okay. How to do that. All right, here we are. Welcome back. Here are all my notes, by the way, if you guys are wondering. Like, yeah, this year I probably went a little bit over and beyond in my notes this year. Usually I got like a little tiny small paragraph, but these quarterbacks really, I mean, there was a lot to talk about, and I wrote down a lot, and like I said, it was just a crazy amount. So again, if you have any questions, be sure to reach out. I do this with every single position, and again, you'll see my running back, wide receiver, tight end, et cetera, going forward. All right. With all that being said, now I got to answer the questions that you guys told us on Instagram. If you don't follow our Instagram, be sure to go there, ask us questions, let me know what you guys want to hear, so I can answer the exact things that you guys want answered. First thing, why Stroud at number 1? I'm going to be honest with you. I said it before. CJ Stroud to me is just one of the safest picks. CJ Stroud's a guy that, to me, when you look at Richardson, when you look at Bryce Young, Richardson, right, he has a lot of potential, but has he done it? Has he shown enough in college? No. CJ Stroud's a guy that I feel truly safe with. Then you say, well, how about Bryce Young, right? Well, why not Bryce Young? Bryce Young's frame is too small for me. And frame doesn't bother me. Like, I did like Kyler Murray coming out. Bryce Young on film did not really awe me. I mean, I feel like his 2021 film was better, but again, he had a lot of talent in 2021. I want to see guys do good with lack of talent too. And, Bryce Young to me was not very, phenomenal to see on film. Hendon Hooker, I really like. I do really like Hendon Hooker. Will Levis is another guy that I just am not truly high on. And you can go right down the line, though. But again, those are really the guys I want to talk about there. But why Stroud 1? I feel like he's the safest pick. He has a big frame, really good accuracy, good touch, throws receivers open. I like him a lot. And a lot of people are knocking his mobility. I think, from what I saw, you don't got to be a mobile quarterback to be a franchise quarterback. I mean, Tom Brady did very good without being mobile, didn't he? So maybe I don't know anything. Just like how Justin Herbert wasn't going to be good, and Josh Allen sucked, and same thing with Lamar Jackson, right? Hear me out, please. Okay, let me have my chance. How good? Here's another question. How good can Hooker be? I think the sky's the limit for Hendon Hooker if given a fair opportunity. If I'm the coach of Hendon Hooker, I'm going to either give him a year to prepare under a guy and give him a true shot in year 2, and I'm not going to bury him in the roster either. I'm not going to draft him in the second round if he falls there, or even possibly the third round, and sit him for 2-3 years. I'm going to get a veteran quarterback for 1 year and tell this guy, I'm going to give you 1 year, to do this. Teach Hendon Hooker, and then next year, Hendon Hooker will be my guy for the next 3 years if I want to pick up the 5th-year option, if I draft him in the first round. If I don't draft him in the first round, then you got to sign him in the 5th year. But long story short, Hendon Hooker is a guy for me that the sky's the limit with him, and if you coach him up, I feel like he could be absolutely phenomenal. One of the only guys that have that really nice high lofting pass. And again, if I'm a receiver, I'm going to want a little bit extra time to be able to find that ball and come down to it rather than that really nice, rather than that, touch pass that's on a line a little bit more that you don't have enough time to really adjust to, if that makes sense. What is my biggest concern for Will Levis? Well, just that. It's Will Levis. It's getting in Will Levis's way. Will Levis is a guy to me that is a solid player, and he has those things that you want to see, the big arm, the zip, the want to play the position, the off-platform throws. Right? I love Zach Wilson because of off-platform throws. But, Zach Wilson also showed me anticipation. Zach Wilson also showed me a really fast release, which also Levis has showed me. Zach Wilson showed me, from what I was told and heard, he was a film junkie. Zach Wilson made some really good throws in college. Will Levis is a little bit ballsy. He's willing to really throw in some tight windows, and and Wilson was too, but I'm much higher on Zach Wilson than I am Will Levis. I'll be brutally honest with you. I mean, I'm not high on Levis. I have not been high on guys in my life. The guys I haven't been high on, Josh Rosen, check mark. I wasn't high on Dwayne Haskins, check mark. Wasn't really that high on Drew Lock, check mark. Wasn't high on who the last few years draft classes. Wasn't that high on Tua. I as a top 1 or 2 guy. I think you even check mark to that one. I missed on Jalen Hurts. He should have been a lot higher for sure. You can say maybe I missed on Fields. I mean, Fields still hasn't really shown me enough to be an elite quarterback. He's a good mobile guy, but enough said about that nonsense. All right, here we go. Why are you not that high on Bryce Young? Bryce Young. I like Bryce Young. I just don't think his frame, and there's nothing that really, this guy's elite at this. He's good, like pretty good at everything. He is good at extending plays. The very best I see him being is what Deshaun Watson was when Deshaun Watson was younger. A really good escapability guy that can escape out of the pocket, get kicked in the eyeball by Mad Max Crosby and still sling the ball and get, a first down and pick up, a nice play. I just don't see him doing that consistently, and I don't think that he'll ever be as good as Deshaun Watson once was, to be honest with you. I think he shows me signs of Deshaun Watson. He's not as big as Deshaun Watson. I don't know if he has a better arm than Deshaun Watson. I like Deshaun Watson better than I like Bryce Young. Okay? So, again, I don't know what Deshaun Watson will live up to. Bryce Young could be way better than Deshaun Watson long term because, Deshaun Watson with his stupidity and all that stuff and, the cases and all that's beyond the point. But what I'm trying to say is pure talent-wise, Deshaun Watson was a very good quarterback. Bryce Young doesn't, live up to what Deshaun Watson once was. Whether or not Watson can get back there or not, that's a different story. But again, even comparing him to the guys in this draft class, he's not as mobile as Richardson. He doesn't have as big of an arm as Richardson. He's not as, accurate, I believe, as CJ Stroud. So when you start comparing to guys in this draft class, there's a lot of check marks I feel like these other guys check that he does not necessarily have either. If you're not going to be, great at anything or elite at anything, like if you're not going to be a really mobile guy, you got to at least be a really, really good passer. And there are some areas I feel like CJ Stroud is, not as good at mobility, but he is a really good passer. And I just don't see Bryce Young being a really good runner or a really good passer, which puts him at mediocre range for me rather than being elite at least a single category. Is Richardson all that? Yes, I do think Richardson's all that. I feel like if you give Richardson a year or two, this guy could be really special. I mean, again, you got to give him an opportunity. Whether or not he's granted that opportunity, that's besides me. That's higher than my pay grade. I'm telling you, if I'm a coach, which I am a coach in real life, and I'm a GM, which I'm not, but I play GM on here, right? I'm drafting Anthony Richardson, and I'm allowing him to play either year 1 or year 2. And actually, Jackson, you mentioned a comment. I want to get to yours real fast, which ties into this. How long will it take Anthony Richardson to start? If I'm the coach, I have 2 options. Same thing with Hendon Hooker. I either start this guy year 1 and I let him go through the growing pains and I don't bench him like they do with Zach Wilson and all these other guys. I let him be my guy and I install my confidence in Anthony Richardson. I'm saying, you're my future. You're my franchise guy. I'm going to let you learn from some of your mistakes. That's what I would do. Or the other option is this, and this is something else I would possibly do. You're going to sit for year 1, but year 2, you're coming out firing all cylinders. And even if you mess up, I'm going to back you because I drafted you to be my franchise guy. Because that's how confident I am in you. And that's what these coaches haven't been doing. And I understand the pressure of being fired and this, that, and the other thing. But when you draft a guy as a GM and a coach, you have to be on the same page, especially with a guy with like Richardson or Malik Willis or, any of these guys that we've been talking about this entire time. You have to say going into it, I'm willing to give you time. As a GM, you can't fire your coach after 1 year of growing pains with your quarterback that you knew that was going to have growing pains. Richardson may have some growing pains, but if you install confidence in this man and you coach him up, I'm looking at all of you right now on the camera. I feel like this guy could be the best quarterback in this draft class. And I feel the same way with Hendon Hooker. If you coach this guy up, give him an opportunity, and he's all right with his injury, he could very well be the best. But again, if I'm going with my safest pick, I'm going with CJ Stroud. I'm not throwing anything out there this year and going crazy. Anthony Richardson, #1. Not doing it. CJ Stroud. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any other questions, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, comment in the section below so I know what to say to all of you and get back to you. And again, I'll come on. You guys can come on, talk to me. I'll show you the film that I watched, and we can talk it together. Remember, April 15th is our 32 GM content creator mock draft. This is going to be live on the channel at 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern. It's probably going to be about 4 to 5 hours. Who knows? It might be that long. And April 27th is our live draft show. Running back, wide receiver, tight end, interior offense lineman, offense tackle, defense tackle, edge rusher, linebacker, cornerback, safety. All coming soon enough. I'm in the books. I'm done scouting running backs, wide receiver. I'm done with the whole entire offensive side of the ball. I just got to watch the combine, do my final little thing. There's not much I can really do with quarterbacks. I'll readjust everything, and we got mock drafts also coming in mid to late April, so stay tuned for that. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all from me. I've been talking very fast to try to get you as much information in the shortest period possible. Till next time, we'll see you guys soon. It was a lot. It's a lot of film study. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. See you guys soon. Peace. We are Built Better.